Chrisland School in Lagos State has been speaking on a video that went viral on Monday showing a 10-year-old female pupil of the school with her colleagues in an immoral conduct during a trip to Dubai. Chrisland, in a statement, says it conducted a COVID-19 post-travel test on the pupil and not a pregnancy test, as widely rumored in some quarters. The school said during the trip, the girls were lodged on the 11th floor, while the boys were on the 4th floor to protect and respect their boundaries. The school explained that its first approach to the situation was taking up parental roles by offering support to the students involved and ensuring that nothing affected the children's psychology. Meanwhile, the Lagos state government has since shut down all 7 branches of the school in the state while it commences investigation into the scandal. Joining us now to dissect and share their perspective on this development is gender advocate Halima Layeni. Welcome to Newsday, Halima, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is, it's quite a distressing situation. There's a lot of discussion about it from both ends. I just want to get your take on how Chrisland is handling the situation and the possible effects it might have on those involved, the children.
First of all, I'd like to say a very big thank you to Arise TV for, shining the spotlight on such an important topic. The first thing, my bone of contention is that I feel like the attention is mostly on the female gender. And there were 2 people in that video, which is the male gender and the female gender, the boy child and the girl child. And I can understand why the society is focused on the girl child, like the focus is on the girl child, and we are having different opinions. What could the parents have done differently? I mean, this is like an issue of bad parenting. And I just wanted to say one thing, as a female child who grew up in this side of Africa, I can attest to the fact that a large chunk of women are sexually abused. Women can testify to the fact that they are sexually abused, and to blame that on the parents would be very unfair. And I know that there are so many opinions about the mother, like this is as a result of bad parenting. But I personally believe that there are different factors that contribute to the decisions that we make as human beings. So, for instance, the girl child would have probably, received the right morals from the parents, and then gets to school and is, falls into peer pressure and is introduced to sex and all of that. So one, I think that the public's perspective of the fact that we're blaming the parents, I don't think that is fair. Now, this is not to relieve the parents of their responsibility of protecting their children, but we need to understand that sometimes as parents, there's little, parents are not gods. They do not have complete control over their children, over the things that they do or where they go, or the things that happen where they go or the things that they do. So I don't think that one is fair for us to blame it on the parents that, the parents did not instill the right values. Now, secondly, I believe that the most endangered child in that room is the boy child. Now, note that I said the most endangered. This is not to say that the other boys present in the video are not endangered or the female child is not endangered. But I feel like the most endangered child in that room is the boy child. Why? Because I know that right now, the parents of the girl child will probably be making arrangements to get our, medical support, psychosocial support. And I'm sure, I can't be so sure, but I can imagine that the boy child is not getting the same attention as the female child. And this is like the same issue that many boys all over the world have to suffer. The fact that, many boys are sexually abused and, nobody really pays attention to them. And I think that another thing that we need to understand is that the most important person to blame in the entire equation are the people who introduce these children to sex, which which are the adults? I mean, they are the ones to blame. I mean, nobody seems to be talking about it, but these children seem to have, I mean, too much experience, and it's obvious that they've obviously been practicing it with an adult. And I think that that's another area that, you know, the society needs to pay attention to. These children, these teenagers they are victims of sexual abuse, and we need to pay attention to that. So I think that, you know, that's pretty much my take for now.
Halima, I beg your pardon. Some, because I've been reading commentaries of people, and some have even gone on to dig out videos of the young girl in question on social media. They say she is actually quite active on social media. Do you think, because you're saying that probably it might be the older ones, do you think probably access to social media at such a young age might have played a huge role, because she has quite over 24,000 likes for some of her videos on social media? Oh, wow. She's been very active on social media.
I mean, absolutely. I feel like the media plays a very vital role in shaping the, you know, the values of our children. And even we as adults, I don't think that we have so much control over the things, over the contents that we are presented when we're on the internet. So I do believe that social media plays a major role in shaping the moral values of our children.
Well, I'd like us to talk about this back and forth between the parents of the girl and Chrisland School. Chrisland is accusing the parents of not cooperating, and then the parents are accusing Chrisland of trying to hide the matter, taking her for pregnancy test, bullying her or intimidating her into silence. Who exactly is liable in this situation? Is it the school or is it the parents? And then considering past cases, for instance, we still have the issue of Sylvester Romani, the family, they're still fighting for justice. Based on that, are you optimistic, you know, that the police investigation will actually uncover the real truth of the matter and that justice will be served in this case?
So I think that in this case, we need to hold the school accountable, because this happened on their watch. Yes, the parents have like some sort of responsibility, but in this case, we need to hold the school accountable because this happened under their watch. The school has a responsibility of protecting the children. And I believe that this still boils down to child protection policies that I believe every school should have, and the government should mandate every school to get, and to ensure that these child protection policies are strictly adhered to. So I just think that this is a clear case of negligence, basically, because I mean, these are teenagers. They should be under the, strict supervision of adults. I think that in this case, the school, we need to hold the school, more responsible, basically, because this happened under their watch.
And Halimi, speaking of the school, what role do you think that they would play in terms of sex education? Not being the expert in children's curriculum, Nigerian children's curriculum, but do you think that sex education is something that needs to be talked about more often in these schools, or maybe even introduced earlier, so that some of the discussions that the kids are having with themselves can be had with adults, or that the comfort level can at least be established? I just want to get your thoughts on what you think about sex education and whether it could be something that could be preventative in these types of situations.
I mean, absolutely. Sex education is key. I mean, we cannot underestimate the role that plays. Every school should have a curriculum for sex education, and not just for the female gender, because I believe that when it comes to sex education, at home or in school, is always geared towards the female gender. It is very imperative to also, educate boys, basically, educate boys on, consent, women's rights, and pretty much all of that. So it's too important. It's too important to sorry, just a second, please. Yeah, sorry. So I think that sex education is too important. I mean, it should be taught on every level. At home, you shouldn't wait till a particular age before you start teaching your children, about sex, and you shouldn't sugarcoat things. You shouldn't call vagina another word or penis another word, because if you don't teach them these things, they would hear it from the public. And then beyond that, I also believe that there needs to be strict policies about, the use of phones in secondary schools. I mean, I remember in my time, I wasn't allowed to use a phone in school. And I think that, yes, I know social media has its advantages, but I think that schools also need to begin to introduce, strict policies for the use of phones in the school premises.
All right. Mr. Thank you very much for your time, Halima Layeni, for speaking about this ongoing situation at Chrisland School.